on Wednesday, October 19th. So I'll call this the Gardner Elementary School Building Committee meeting to order. Dr. Hammond, would you mind calling the roll?
Mark Hawk. Yeah, I see if he's there.
I'm here.
Mark Hawk. Michael, Mayor Nicholson,
Don't see him.
Dr. Pellegrino,
Here.
Wayne Anderson, Earl Martin, I know is not here, Kathy Gogan,
Present.
Joyce West, Jennifer Plavin, Bob Schwartz,
Present.
Ron Cormier,
Present.
Christine Thomas, Tina. I see
Yes, yes, I see you.
you. Ashley Chickwin. No. Robert Hankinson,
Present.
Heidi Generous, Josh Cormier. We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Can now that we've called the meeting to order, we have taken attendance. Can I hear a motion to approve the minutes from September 7th?
So move.
Second.
Excellent. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, can we put the matter to a roll call vote? Dr. Hammond?
Mark Hawk,
Yes.
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson joined yet? No.
He's on.
Oh, Wayne Anderson. Approve the minutes. Wayne, you're muted. I'll move on. Kathy Gogan,
Yes.
Joyce West. Yes. Jennifer Plavin, I don't think Jennifer's joined yet. Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Ron Cormier,
Yes.
Christina Thomas,
Yes,
Robert Hankinson.
Yes.
I don't see Heidi Gendris, and Josh Cormier. I don't see him. Did I miss anybody? It's a vote, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. So the ayes have it. Motion passes. Can we have an approval of the bills and orders?
Mr. Chairman, could I share the screen to bring them up, make it a little easier?
Absolutely. Brenda, can you make it so he can share the screen? Thank you.
Thank you. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, recommend that the following bills be approved. Collier, 71,788.95. Jones Winsett, 112,788.75. Bacon, 1,537,430.77. Allied Testing, 862.50. WB Mason, the last four digits on their invoice number 2698, 2982, $2,982. The next two were together, so they've been approved. 3230 for $4,395 and 3260 for $18,865. Recommend that they be approved, and they've been approved by the OPM.
Very good.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, could you put the matter to a roll call vote? Dr. Hammond?
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Dr. Pellegrino. Mark Hawk,
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson's not here. Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Kathy Gogan,
Yes.
Joyce West,
yes,
Jennifer Plavin, has she joined yet? No. Robert Schwartz,
Yes.
Ron Cormier,
Yes.
Christina Thomas,
yes,
Robert Hankinson.
Yes.
I don't believe Heidi Generous or Josh Cormier has joined us. The motion passes, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other bills or orders in front of us?
None,
That it?
no, those are the only ones.
Excellent. I like that. All right. So moving on to the report from the OPM.
Okay, I'm going to share. We can talk a little bit about the finances. So again, here's our budget on column A, and invoiced to date in B. And then really what we tend to look at a lot is the last two columns here on the right, which are what we think are MSBA eligible for reimbursement, and then what that reimbursement would be. So just kind of scrolling down to the bottom of the $89.5 million. As of the time of running of this report, it was 64 million had been billed. And of that 64 million, we were anticipating about 47 million being eligible for reimbursement. And based on the district's reimbursement rate, that would be a reimbursement of just under $38 million. There is kind of a backlog or just when invoices come in and this report is generated, but just to kind of update people where we are a little bit based on Bacon's invoice that you just approved. That equals about 92% of their contract. We also hold 5% in retainage. So their contract is coming down towards the end. You know, there's still some items in the gym that we haven't been billed for. There's certainly the playground areas and some site work that hasn't been billed, but we're in pretty good shape. We're coming down to the end. We still have a number of changes to talk about, and they'll continue to come in. But overall, from a financial perspective, we're in really good shape. Any questions about the finances or any of these items? Okay, now we'll talk about some of the updated activities, and I'll turn this over to Matt to talk through some of these items.
Okay. Pretty much most of the work that's going on during the day is going on around the site. We did hear today at our OAC meeting that they're going to be paving the little walkway paths that are all over, pretty much on the north, or mostly, I guess, on the east side of the building, connecting all the various playgrounds and so forth. So that's good news. The landscaper has been around for the last few days. Combination of pulling weeds and planting trees and bushes and small plantings like that, as well as spreading some of that loam that's been heaped up in front of the building. I think that'll continue until they're finished. And they're also doing between I call it the courtyard between building B and C. If you ever get in the building and look out through the connector, it's kind of it's just kind of a winding area that's going to have a combination of loam with some plantings, some big rock boulders placed strategically, with some river stone. And I think there's loam on the other side of it as well. So that's starting to turn out really nice. They're still working on playgrounds. It's kind of going slow. There's a lot of detail to it and a lot of things to be checked out and double checked. They were talking about possibly pouring that rubber base, the poured in place surface. I don't think it's going to happen personally, because according to manufacturer, we need 40 degrees and rising to do this. They're still not going to be ready for a couple of weeks. So I can't imagine we're going to have a whole lot of 40-degree days plus that they can rely on, but we'll see what happens. They're going to continue the pavers across the fire lane. That'll take a little while to get them remobilized. And Marois is continuing to fill in between areas and build upgrades. Also working with the landscape contractor. Pretty much inside the buildings, it's punch list, all being done for the most part on the second shift. As I said before, the kitchen is operational now. Gym is complete with the exception of the bleachers. And once they come back for the bleachers, they will finish the wall padding. And basically the gym is done at that point for all intents and purposes. Stage floor, they're just waiting to have the stained color approved, and then it will be stained and polyurethane. I saw the sander today, so they're getting ready to sand it down. We're still working on one elevator at this point. Shirley is hoping to get very soon the final inspection on the other elevator. All the punch list work is done. They're picking away at the windows as far as replacing glass and so forth. They just happen to have a lot of work to do all over the place between storefront doors and windows and curtain wall. But they've been at it every day. They've been working weekends, so I've got to give them credit for that. HVAC system, from what we hear, it's getting a little bit more fine-tuned. Every day we are hearing different complaints from people. It's too hot, but I understand it's been improving, or at least we haven't had any complaints, and they have been working on the controls. At Building C, they're still working on punch list odds and ends. Also Jones Windset will be out a couple times this week to continue the their punch list in areas they haven't worked on yet. And just going forward, it's just going to be more of the same. Playground work, plantings, maybe the rubber surface, work on the Summit Garden in the front of Building A, and punch list. I mean, hopefully complete the gym and, get more into the commissioning and then training of the staff.
So can I ask about the gym? Because the sprinkler system, we have to upgrade what's going on there? How long is that going to take? Because it's very difficult for the staging of kids when it comes to buses and things without that gym. So about when are we looking at for this thing?
I don't know. I got the impression after today's meeting, it could still be by the time the contractor gets ready, gets out there, does his work, we're probably still looking at every bit of good 2 weeks. At least, I would say.
Why
Okay.
can't we be using the gym prior to this?
The issue with the sprinklers, Mark, is that there are sprinklers along the wall that are to go under the bleachers. And at our meeting today, it sounded like Bacon's still coordinating with the sprinkler manufacturer. So it's not like the sprinklers in the entire gym need to be changed or upgraded. It's that these sprinklers that went behind the bleachers, I think, were put in the wrong location, potentially too high. And so they have to bring them down so that the bleachers can slide up against that wall and not damage those sprinklers. So that's
Okay.
the comment.
So, right. So I guess that's my question is, would we be able to use it for, I mean, the staging part is the kids are in the actual gym area. We wouldn't be able to occupy that area until the sprinklers are upgraded and all that?
That's an interesting question. We can talk to Bacon about that. I mean,
But the biggest issue with that is, excuse me, Christian, is that probably a third of the gym floor running east-west is covered by all the pieces and parts that make up the bleacher. They're all spread out, getting ready for installation. So unless they went ahead and, moved it all, that's probably the only thing that would hold you up from doing that.
Okay, well, if it's 2 weeks, 2 weeks isn't that bad, but it's doable, but the sooner the better, obviously.
understood.
2 weeks is still 5 weeks past the original time that we were given.
So we have some recent photos in case people haven't been on site. The main entry sign. This is the electronic sign with the message board. Some Summit Garden deck and seating on the wood stumps. just some of the slides that have been installed at the rear playground area. And then the steps that get up to the slide level. Installation of some granite steps at the lower playground section. This is in the back of the building behind building A, and where the sod was laid, back by an area that we were trying to get ready for student use as a play space. This is a picture on the right-hand side of the flooring on the platform or the stage, if you will. Just there's a stain that we mentioned had to go down, and then a finish, and there was just a mock-up done of the color and just making sure the stain and the finish were compatible. These are some sound projecting devices above the stage. And here's some pictures, or a picture of the gym, so you can see a lot of the material for the bleachers is laid out. But you can see the other aspects of the gym are in good shape. So hopefully, if they have to move that sprinkler line, it shouldn't really take that long to do the work. It's just once they move it, getting the bleachers pushed back up against the wall. We can talk to them and see if we can't expedite that work. Here's a picture from the storefront at stair 3. This is between the main lobby and the cafeteria. And here's a picture of the cafeteria itself, and you can see the platform area with the plastic in front of it. And the kitchen would be over on the left-hand side. And that's it for pictures. I did want to mention the punch list that's ongoing. So it's a process that the design team and the engineers will go through and develop a list of items. And then those items are entered into a Procore software program, which is basically our document management system for all the documents on the project. It's something that Bacon set up and maintains. And so they can sort the material or the list by room number, by trade, by a bunch of different ways to make that more useful. Right now, there are some areas like the gym that the design team couldn't get into and fully punch out. One of the other areas was the first floor of B, just because that was kind of the last area where the contractor was working. And then some site and some MEP work. So some punch list is still being developed. There's a lot of items that have been identified. And as Matt mentioned, the contractor has been addressing those. The next step will be that the contractor, or I'm sorry, the design team or the engineers will go back through and verify that those items have been addressed. So the items that have been documented, we'll wait for the contractor to say, yeah, it's been addressed, it's been done. And Christian and his team will go back out and look at it and make sure that they, while touching up the paint on the door jamb, they didn't drip it all over the floor or something like that. And then you have to then add more punch list items onto the list. So it's a forever changing document. The number of items changes daily. It's kind of an ongoing living document. So it would be hard to give you percentages of items that have been addressed or number of items that are out there. But they are making good progress. Another thing that's been going on is a lot of the closeout documentation from the contractor has been submitted for review. So design teams in the process are reviewing as-built drawings, warranty, documentation. A lot of those closeout documents, it takes a long time to pull together. So the fact that Bacon's been submitting as much of it as they have is a good thing. Some projects, it really is like pulling teeth to get some of this stuff. So that's really helpful. Just trying to think of other items as we're getting towards the end that we'll be working through, but I guess Matt and Christian had covered some of the bigger ones. Any questions on-
Yeah, I have just a quick question. Parking, it's, one of the major concerns that we have now that, we have some more staff. I don't know if there are any thoughts of still doing something so we can gain some more parking spaces and if there's a plan in the works.
Christian, you have any?
Yeah, I know we had a meeting with Earl and Wayne and Mark Hawk. And we discussed, kind of changing the site circulation a little bit. The thought was to do that on a temporary measure for now, see how it goes, and then see what parking opportunities that might help. So one thought was, that we could add some parallel parking along the lower drive, kind of at the southernmost portion of the parking area. And I know Fuss and O'Neill was going to head out again and see how that was going and meet with Earl and discuss some other options on the traffic flow in general. So I'd say we're looking into it, Mark. I think that, it's always a question of future flexibility and then how much of a change to make now, but we're certainly looking into options.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, and I know Mark Hawk has, put the bug in my ear about, those little jut outs that are going to make it really hard to plow. I don't know if there's anything that can be done with those things or would that just be a major project? Wayne, I don't know if you have any input into that too, but I don't know what your thoughts are in gaining some parking from those few spots. I don't know if how much that would give us.
I looked at those quickly with the landscape architect sometime this week. I think it would be really expensive to gain very few spots. I think we need to look into having parking, like the parallel parking along the access road that's closest to the multi-use path, which they've been doing that recently, and it seems to be working. I just don't know where we can pick up extra parking. Enough extra parking for the easiest money. I mean, it's a very tight site, and I believe it would be really expensive to take out those jut outs. For picking up maybe 2 spots per jut out is going to be really expensive.
Mark Hawk, were you going to say something?
I just think there's no other land available in wherever we can pick up 2 or 3. We have the funding available to do it. We really need to do it.
Yeah, my
And we need
concern
to
is
do
if
it
we,
quickly.
right, because if we put it off, my concern is if we put it off, I'm assuming this would still be somewhat reimbursable, right? I mean, we'd get 80% on this. Yes, no,
No.
no.
So site work is capped at 8% of your construction cost.
Okay, we're already there.
And we're
Okay.
already, we're beyond that.
So how much contingency do we have left, Tim?
We have more than enough to do the parking that you would want to do as far as if you were looking to remove those, even though it might be an expensive cost, because I remember the granite is set in concrete. But a big excavator is, it can certainly pull that stuff apart. Then you'd have to, replace some of the material, the bedding material, and then pave it. This time of year, obviously, we're coming up on the asphalt plants closing, usually in November, maybe by Thanksgiving. Assuming the weather holds, they could stay open longer, but yeah, I think it certainly, if you guys wanted to do that, you could still do it with project funds, whether you did it with Bacon or somebody else. There's something we could look at, to do it in the spring if you can't do it this fall. There's some options there that we have money to, I think, to be able to do it. I think we just want to make sure that we're comfortable with the solution and what it's going to cost for what we're going to gain. But I agree, now's the time to do it if you want to make that change.
And I wasn't suggesting delaying it. But I think we need to have a discussion with Fuss and O'Neill about the original traffic study, our current parking, and where can we pick up the most spots, the biggest bang for our buck.
No, I agree.
There's gonna be space somewhere that we can easily carve out a bunch of spaces.
Don't they owe us money because we didn't use their plan at all and we had to rework the entire traffic plan?
I wish it.
I think we should be paying Earl Martin. I still say that. Bob, Ron, I don't know if you guys or Bob Schwartz as well. I don't know if you guys have any input into this, the parking issue and thoughts? No? Okay. Okay. I just think that's a major issue that we need to, I'm sorry, Bob Schwartz, were you talking? If you were on mute.
Yes.
What? Bob, we can't understand you at all.
Those
Yeah,
jut outs.
Yeah, there you
Is
go.
that better?
Just, yes, it's much better. Thank you.
Those jut outs should be taken care of for the sake of easier plowing. That's what I'm thinking.
All right,
That's
thanks.
all I got to say on that.
Okay.
I
All right,
think
so this is just
probably
a
the
major
easiest
concern that
thing-
what's that, Wayne?
The easiest thing to do is to give you your diagonal parking. Would have to cut into, expand that road that's closest to the multi-use path. Push that into the island further and have diagonal parking there. We'll probably
Okay.
pick up, I would say, at least 30 spots.
Okay. So first off, I wanted to make this, I wanted to say this during the meeting. I wanted to make sure everybody was aware parking is an issue. What we don't want is, we don't want to have a brand new building and then 2 months later say, okay, we need more parking. So now we're putting more money into it. I want, to me, when the building's done, I want the building to be done and I want it to be done to the specifications that we need to occupy the building. So I don't want to have to do additional work on it. Now, and we see that this is going to be a problem as it is. So, Mark, Hawk, Wayne, maybe you guys can work with Christian and Tim and just start thinking about what are the next steps to addressing this, because it is an issue.
Yeah. We'll
So
set up-
Mark-
we'll for this meeting, I think we can leave it at that unless somebody opposes moving on. Mark, were you going to say something?
Yeah, just real quick, just so everyone realizes that when we started the process, whatever it was, 3-4 years ago, we combined the number of people at each school and we came up with whatever it was, 150, and we had 200 parking spots. Now you fast forward to today, and with the Student Opportunity Act, we've added 20 plus 25 positions. So all those extra spots that we had are no longer there. And that's why we're in the parking crunch. It wasn't poor planning on anyone's part. It was, who would have thought that the Student Opportunity Act actually would have passed and we would have been, funded more appropriately. But like Christian said, we did have a meeting, some ideas were thrown out. We just want to make sure that that's put on one of the front burners so we can take care of this sooner rather than later, because I don't want all this to go by and then still have a parking crunch a year or two from now.
Exactly. Thank you for pointing that out, Mark.
And then
Any other-
adding
go ahead.
to Mark's point that the 200 parking spaces for a round number, 5 of those is for handicap accessibility, 4 of those are for EV parking, even though people park their SUVs in front of the charging stations. And we have custodial staff and the kitchen staff that take up a bunch of spaces too. So we're maxed out.
Got it. Thank you, Wayne. Yeah, and not to mention, we have 131 or 132 additional students in the district. So our enrollment's already been going up. So that's a nice thing. All right. If no one has any objections, we'll move on to iPad closed down.
Architects.
Yeah, anything else from the OPM? Are you guys all set now?
No, we're all set. Thank you.
Okay. Reluctantly, we move on to the architects who will go talk about change orders.
Everybody's favorite time of the week. Let me share screen here. Great. Was all distributed by Dr. Hemmon. I think I will kind of pass over any of the change or the PCOs in change order number 21, unless anybody has any specific questions on them. Then we just have a few at the bottom with some additions, some new additions from what the Finance Committee has seen, and then just this morning, a few more small additions from Bacon that we wanted to rush onto the list in order to keep things moving along. So basically all these items 318 to 374 are all included in change order 21, which was also included in that packet that went out from Dr. Hemmon. Oh, I'm sorry, we're included in change order 20, which went out, and 318 to 374 will be included in change order 21 as currently in a draft form. Some new items here. Number 375 was a cleaner's invoice for FF&E cleaning. This happened at the very end of the project. Bacon ended up using their own cleaning crew and then also hired the owner's cleaning crew. Bacon covered many of those costs for helping them clean up the cafeteria and the kitchen. But there was additional furniture cleaning requested by the district. So Bacon passed that along for $7,349. 376 was a minor adjustment to a curb that had to happen out in the parking area to comply with ADA for $1,845. 378 was for some additional caulking needed at the fascia of the building way up high under the soffit panels at the edge of the roof. The waterproofer, who it's a filed sub bid who has to do that work, had to come back to add some additional caulking to that area for $4,115. And then new as of today, and some of these are, we're going to ask for approval not to exceed because we're still kind of evaluating them. 382 we haven't seen in print yet, but owner requested additional keys for $1,370. I think we'll recommend approval at a not to exceed, since we haven't really been able to evaluate that one yet. 383 was for some of the last minute electrical work done on the elevator right before the school opened on that Sunday. The elevator inspector asked for an additional smoke detector in there for $3,481. And then the last one is the last gas bill was right when the ownership changed between Bacon and the district. Again, the design team and Colliers has to look at this one in a bit more depth, but we're asking for a not to exceed of $1,032 for that one. There was a substantial deduct change order for a window film that that Bacon could not provide. It basically went out of production. So that significant credit against all of these small adds, the new total for all of these change orders for 21 would come to $1,175.
Question?
Yeah.
Just regarding, can you go up to the owner's cleaning?
Yes.
There was a late change in that. It was like, I talked with Stephen Agostini late yesterday afternoon. We all agreed that it'd be better that we pay our cleaning company directly. So that 7,000 number will become a minus. And the total, just for reference, the total invoice from Morris to Agostini Bacon was just north of 13 grand. And the net number to us without overhead and profit was $6,600. It was $6 grand and change. But that's something that's coming down the pipe. So that 7,349 will become a negative, but I don't know how when you do a credit, what happened to the overhead and profit?
Well, it hasn't been processed through yet, Wayne, so do we want to just take it off the list? Is that what you're saying, that this one will go away?
Well, it's going to become a negative. It's going to become a credit to us, but I would just take it off the list for today
Okay.
because I don't know what the negative is going to be, because in my previous life, the credit is never as much as the debit.
Right, right.
Construction math.
That's a good way of putting it. So it'll become a credit, and then the district's going to pay the cleaner directly.
Yes,
Yes,
Got it.
I just wanted to notate that Bacon absorbed more than half of more cleaning service just to get us in the building, which was a momentous task, to say the least.
Absolutely. So, do I hear a motion to approve, these change orders without, minus the owner's cleaning invoice, or change order 375? Do I hear a motion to approve?
moved.
so second,
Excellent. Any discussion on that motion? All right, hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to a roll call vote. Dr. Hemming, would you mind calling the roll?
Mark Hawk,
yes,
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes,
Kathy Gogan,
yes,
Joyce West,
Yes.
Robert Schwartz,
yes,
Ron Cormier,
yes,
Christina Thomas,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
yes,
and I know Heidi Generous and Josh Cormier, I don't believe are on the call. The motion passes, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Hemming. Anything else, Christian?
No, the only thing I was going to bring up, Matt and Tim were already talking about it, but the punch list, just so folks, because we've had some questions on it from the district. So this is our interface with Procore. So you can see here, it's a pretty fantastic. This is the first time we've done a punch list this way, and boy, does it beat the old days of walking through the building with a clipboard and a camera. So what's interesting is that Bacon started this process even before we really kind of officially started our punch list process. And I think that was to help kind of give their sub consultant or sub contractors a little nudging. And so a lot of these, so every pin here you see on this plan was a one-time a punch list item for the first floor of the A-wing. This is just that one portion of the building. So everything in gray has been closed out. A lot of those, again, were done by Bacon before we started our punch list process. But I would say maybe half of the gray ones we were involved with walking through the building and pointing those deficiencies out. And then everything in blue is still outstanding. And so again, Bacon and their subs are working on it. And then once they slide to green, then we can go on site and inspect that item, make sure that it meets our standards, and then we can either accept it or reject it and kind of go along with the conversation. But you can tag a picture and tag it to the specific area. So it's very clear, if there's a smudge on the wall, take a picture of it, pin it to the plan, and they can see exactly where that problem has occurred. So a really helpful tool in getting this through. And it's a living document, as Tim said, so hard to give full numbers, but I would say, we've been talking with our consultants over this week. We're about 80% done, 85% done looking through both the interior and the exterior of the building. Most of our consultants are right in that same ballpark, except for our site consultants, which are, of course, they're further behind because the site is further behind. But it is progressing, and it's nice to see that work is getting done. Any
Excellent,
questions on
Christian.
that punch list process or where we're at now in the scope of services? Great.
All right. Thank you very much, Christian. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Any old business, new business, or other business to come before the building committee? Public comment, Mr. Rockwood, any comments?
Just one thing, I wanted to thank Earl for his management of the traffic on Pearl Street and getting it off of Pearl Street. That had been a hassle for the folks living up on this side of the street. And now everything is on Catherine Street and on the access roads. And that is great for the neighbors. Thank you.
No problem. It's good to be a part of the community. Thanks for the feedback. Next meeting is November 16th, 2022. Dr. Hammond, is there anything else that we need to talk about?
No, we're all set, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. No need for executive session. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? I hear a second
Everyone said that.
from, all
Second.
right, excellent.
Yes.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.